your narrator wants to try to be of service to this ongoing chain of videos with this chain of videos by by people. I mean, one topic has always been, and it is for a lot of political movements, that the claim that there's a like sort of the right left divide or the liberal conservative divide or whatever itself is unreal and unproductive. But very often in the videos, because we want to hopefully like educate people who don't or help people in some way where they're about political things. It is when it's important when your narrator says things like, "Well, the Democratic Party, they know that's not, there is no left, and the Republican Party, well, there is no right." And I say, well, persons like your narrator are like accused of being on the far right wing. Well, that's why we know that whatever this Republican thing is, like, that's not the right, but neither is the Democratic Party or the left. But I really, it's time for you. I really think your narrator to help like whoever, like maybe a younger person or something, or someone who's still this sort of left right thing, to just say it's unreal and like we have to like work together or whatever. Like, well, what are we actually talking about? And it's important because we talk about economics. That the reason persons like myself like we're reading the thought of we're reading what's I mean we're interested in the all the intellectual ideas of the underground fascist international, for example. Like, what are we doing looking into such people? Well, here's the thing. It's a big part of like I said, I had to read a lot about what was going on in like in the underground fascist international and different books on like that thought before I sort of understood something that's actually very simple. The only way in which there is a right and a left is that in economic terms, like there are structural positions in any society. So, for example, there are workers there, and then there are owners, and then there are investors. Okay, and whether or not there's like there are different sectors of the society. So a person who is an investor or an owner, okay, has concerns that are different from the concerns of the workers. So in other words, but that can be resolved. What workers would want is high wages, a health care program, good retirement, that kind of thing. That wouldn't be something. That's the concern. Or unions should be strong. That's the concern of, say, the worker in the factory. Then there is, say, the owner of the factory and those who invest. Their concern is, the owner is concerned with profits and the investor is concerned that their investment goes up. Okay, but in other societies, for instance, the reason like I read the long history of the development of the German economy, those things, because they're about objective reality, there can be what the Germans called cross-class solidarity to build the national economy. That is, everyone's concerns can be worked out. That's the sense in which there's different structural positions. So like that's that. So to the extent that there's a left and a right or anything like that, those have to do from people like your narrator, and anyone can interpret anything anyway, but the narrators interpret it simply as the structural position. But why we are so interested in Germany and why persons like myself are accused all the time of being a Nazi for no apparent reason is that like Well, if you read the political economy of like over the history of Germany and the German economic thought going back, say, to the 1600s, much of which influenced the political economic ideas of our American Revolution, that's now forgotten, is that there was much complexity and intelligence and thought into how investors, owners, and the workers worked together to find arrangements that would benefit the whole. In addition, like one reason persons like myself oppose the what we've read of the thought of, say, like someone like John Rawls, who represents something called like liberalism, is that they're uninterested in the whole. That their thought would entail, it's a bunch of kinds of ideas that don't take into account the whole. That different parts of the society, coming to an agreement where everybody in every sector benefits. That's the sense in which there are different positions. Other than that, there would be no reason or no need to even talk in terms of it's shorthand to say right and left, just simply meaning different sectors. But that can be navigated in very intelligent ways, and the history of the political economy of Germany and German economic thought, as I said, going back to the 1600s, demonstrates that such a thing exists and can be very functional. It's called cross-class solidarity. But what we have now is not that. But there's actually no other reason to divide things out into right and left, because what then are we talking about? And it does, so then it just becomes irrelevant. But that's the only sense in which your narrator actually understands the sort of different why there would be different concerns that aren't just one concern, like why there would be a right and a left, if just to speak in shorthand of it. That's important, and it's why persons like myself are accused of being Nazis, for our deep interest in the political economic development of Germany, which is so different from our country. But actually, this is a book called The Political Economy of the American Revolution that thankfully a number of historians put together to demonstrate that the clause in the Declaration of Independence, for the common welfare, that actually some of the hugest influence in the founding of our country wasn't people like John Locke, whose names everyone knows. It actually wasn't these Brits or whatever. It actually were people like what I think they were called the Cameralists, a number of German economic thinkers that had really influenced the founders. That's unknown for some reason and not taught.